Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name's Ray, the Market Trader, and before we get started, just want to alert you of all the various options and services that are available on the portal here. We have a membership service that allows you to look at member level videos, in addition to some additional perks for members. And so with that, let's go ahead and move to our risk disclosure and before we get started here, okay? So so here we are. Just want to remind everyone that the content that's being distributed and made available is to be used as general information only. The information contained herein is not intended to be investment advice or an offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. We understand that the use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk, not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital, money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle, should be used for trading. Okay, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure here, we'll go ahead and turn our attention to the news portal, okay? And we're just going to kind of review what news do we have here that could potentially impact the markets. All right, so we have Fed member Barkin speaking here in about less than an hour. We have those who trade crude oil. We have a crude oil report, EIA, coming in at 10:30 a.m. We have some additional Fed member speaking up until about 11 Eastern, until our next news item, and that's the U.S. 5-year note coming in at 1 p.m. Okay, Eastern time. And then we have another Fed member at 1:20. And then we close out the day with NVIDIA reporting earnings. Okay, so I would say relatively light. I would say news wise, as we kind of look ahead in the week, I think there's some bigger ticket items that could potentially impact the markets here. Tomorrow we have U.S. initial jobless claims that has the potential of moving the markets, and then Friday we have PPI year over year, month over month, that has the potential of impacting the markets. Okay, so with that, now that we have kind of a view of the news and how the news has what news has the potential of impacting the markets, let's go ahead and turn our attention now to the trading platform and see what kind of news we have, or not news, but what kind of context that we can arrive from the markets. Okay, so we'll go ahead and open that up here. Here we are. Okay, so I have a chart of gold. We'll go ahead and start off with the daily chart. Okay, go ahead and remove whatever drawings we may have going on here. Kind of stretch this out here a little bit. Turn this off, get out of replay mode, and just kind of take a look and see kind of what the market is trying to accomplish. Okay, well, the market continues to show signs that it wants to continue higher. Now, it's not progressing higher without effort, right? It's a certain amount of a labored bullish move here. Okay, so while we have made of late, some recent highs and recent lows, we are, or I should say, higher highs and higher lows. The price, we're seeing a lot more in the way of overlapping price. No longer are the days where we book daily candle after daily candle higher, right? So the daily chart, while showing some signs of bullish behavior, it is a progression that appears to be quite labored. Okay, so it market does appear to be somewhat range bound. Okay, again, you see a lot in the way of overlapping price. We take a look at our DMI indicator, and our DMI indicator is really not giving us all that much in the way of a solid direction one way or the other. We have a positive and negative, both overlapping each other. And our ADX, the line in blue, is not giving us a very strong reading that we are in a very strong trend, and that is reflective of what we're seeing as far as price. Okay, volume delta, volume again, we're seeing volume on both sides, indicating that we are in somewhat of a balanced range bound market here. Okay, let's go ahead now and take a look at the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, I would say more of the same, right? You can see that the market continues to be in some sort of range. Has not been able to, did make a new high. No, has not made a new high, but we are making higher highs and higher lows of late. Okay. We seem to be respecting all of our moving averages here, right? We're above the 9, above the 20, above the 50. Okay. And right now you can see that the 20 moving average is giving us a nice kind of area, right? Where that dynamic kind of support zone for this market. Okay, so looking at the 4-hour, we can see that we are getting somewhat of continued bullish price action in this market. Okay, taking a look at the 30-minute chart. I'm going to see if I can restore my initial balance here. See if possible. Okay, let's see. We'll go down to the 30 now. See if I see my, oh, no, it's still down below here. I'll just go ahead and see if I can remove it, and we'll add it back on here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add my initial balance. Looks like I've gotten it. So my little initial balance indicator here. So this is the one I use, and I customize it a bit. So we'll run through the customization here. Okay, so here we are. Collapse this here a bit and open this up here. And my initial balance lines I make in yellow. I don't use the 30-minute. I use the 1 hour. I don't need to see the fill. And I do want to see the middle, and we'll make that yellow. And then we'll make the extensions red. Okay, so that's basically the customizations that I do on this particular indicator, and that gives me my initial balance automatically as the market opens. Okay. All right. So now that I got my initial balance, let's go ahead and take a look and see what kind of ranges and extensions did we get prior to the New York session. Okay. So let's go ahead and expand this here, make sure it's nice and visible. All right. So let's first change this over to Asia and see what Asia was able to do with this market. All right. So Asia, we got a very nice extension to the upside. Really didn't give us much of an opportunity to participate unless we decided to use the 9 EMA that we had. We got a couple of situations where we did get a little bit of a pullback, right? So offering us maybe a little bit of an opportunity here to the upside. Really strong move on the open, right? We got a nice engulfing candle. So Asia was, for the most part, bullish. Okay, we got another little move back down to the edge of the initial balance range and continued its rally. Taking a look at the London, we'll modify this for the London market. Looking at London, all right, London was actually a bit on the bearish side. Okay, so you can see that we got an extension of the initial balance range, not to the upside, but actually to the downside. Okay, so we had price leave the range to the downside, come down to the 100 EMA, and rally. Okay, it rallied from there, and now it's actually made its way back inside value, which would give us an indication that maybe it's priming itself for maybe a rotation of the initial balance range, right? So maybe we're starting to see evidence that now that we got a 15-minute, or in this case actually a 30-minute close back inside the initial balance range, that could tell us that maybe at least we should expect that price will rotate back to the highs of the London session, right around from where we're trading right now at 52.05 up to 52.16, which would make for a very nice move. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing. So again, Asia for the most part quite bullish. London, on the other hand, a bit more neutral to bearish has kind of been the take here. So indicating that the market has been in some sort of range. Okay. We're going to go ahead now and turn off, actually take a peek here at the US, see what kind of range is establishing here in the US. It seems to be quite narrow, to be honest. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, very relatively narrow range that is developing here in the US session, right? A little bit of an indecision candle, right up against the high. So the question now becomes which direction is going to take. So let's take a look now at the fixed range volume profile. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. So we'll go ahead and move this all the way over here and take a look. Okay, take a look and see. Well, you can see that price is above value. It actually checked value. It checked the value range right here, right, and again initiated it another round of bullish price action. So based on the fact that price is above value, okay, above the range, that is an indication that there are participants that are willing to pay a little bit of a premium in participating in this market to the upside. The issue now becomes is that we've come into an area, this area here, of some balanced trade, and there is evidence of some sellers here. Okay, so definitely some evidence of sellers here around the 52.15, 52.14 level here. Okay, so how should we approach this as we enter the session? Well, again, it appears that we are in some sort of range kind of price action. We had, price rally during Asia, maybe break down a bit in London, and now we're smack in the middle of the range. So I think the wise thing would be is to wait for this initial balance range. It's a relatively narrow range. To wait for this range to establish and see which side of this initial balance range do participants end up taking this. Okay, do they take it to the upside or do they take it back to the downside? So that would be the approach here. So I'm gonna give the gold right now, I would say kind of a neutral to, I'm just going to give it a neutral rating at this point, right? Because we're seeing price moves in both direction. Now, maybe I give it a little bit of an edge here on the bullish side, because I did see that we did rally, we did pull back to a logical level, right, of the 100 EMA, and we're attempting to make a new high. But unless we can get above, say, 52.15, 52 up to ultimately up to 52.30, then there's always the possibility that sellers could step in. So I'm gonna give it a neutral rating here at this point. There is evidence of some buyers here in the overnight session. I think if I'm a buyer of this market, I would probably want to hold out for maybe a little bit of a deeper pullback, maybe around the zone of where this buyer was, that kind of showed some evidence here around maybe 51.93, 51.92, 94, somewhere in that range. That might be an area where I might entertain an opportunity. What I like about that is that it allows me to manage my risk, because even at the 51.92 level, there's a fair amount of risk that I need to take here. 20 points of risk, right, based on this buying wick here, right, that took us all the way down to the 100 EMA. So again, we'll just keep the neutral rating here at this point. I see there's a lot of balanced kind of trading that's going on at the current pricing, and basically be patient and wait for this initial balance range to establish, and let the participants decide which direction they want to take it. If I look at the 4-hour, we're developing bullish. 1 hour is also bullish, but not the strongest of candles here. And then I would say a little bit of a mixed bag on the current 30-minute chart of balanced trade. So we'll go with a neutral rating, okay, as we head into the session today. Okay, let's go ahead now and turn our attention to the silver market. All right, we'll take a peek at the silver, see what kind of context we can draw from the silver market. And again, we'll take a look at the daily, and see. Now, the silver market looks a bit stronger to me, and I think that was evident in our review yesterday as well. Market is starting to show signs of some strength. Okay, we have I think we had that same gap exist in the gold market, but we have recently broken above this some area of some resistance here. But technically, we're still inside the larger swing, in that what that larger swing is to the downside. So there is the possibility, given the kind of price action we're seeing, right? A lot of range kind of price action, that at any of this area, anywhere in this area, we could see sellers step back into the market. Okay. So while we are seeing a little bit more in the way of some bullish price action of late, we are coming into an area where sellers who stepped in at around the 120 level could come back to this market. All right, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart again, you can see we're getting some evidence here of some bullish price action of late. We are above some of the moving averages that we care about, right? We're above the 9, we're above the 20, we are above some of these 50, 100, 200 moving average. I think this last one here is some of the fast. This is one of the moving average number 2. I think this is the 50. Okay, so we are seeing that the 50 is starting to cross above some of the slower moving averages, right? So we are seeing on the 4-hour that of evidence of bullish price action. We are making higher highs and higher lows, and look to the left, and we're working our way to get above this 90 level, 90 level, right? So assuming that this would be obviously a logical location for the market to stall, if it is indeed in range, and maybe come back to some of these areas that we have below, maybe 87, 87, 87, 88, right? Anywhere in that range, right? And if we look closely at these candles that are currently forming on the 4-hour, these candles are a little bit indecisive, very small bodies with wicks on both ends. Not the most decisive of candles after receiving such a nice set of candles that would indicate that the market wants to head higher. So is the market pausing for another leg higher, or is the market kind of developing some interest maybe for a swing to the downside? Now, I will say, as I mentioned already, 88 on the 4-hour chart does seem to be a logical level. If we are going to maintain this kind of bullish structure that we've been in, 88 does appear to be a nice level for us to maybe entertain a trade, because I can manage my risk to the upside. So I understand that I am up against an area that could cause the market to rotate here a little bit. Okay, so I'm not going to be the first one attempting to see if I buy here and expect the market to head higher. That would probably be unwise, because I'm not seeing evidence of aggressive buyers here at the moment. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart, so there's that kind of ranging kind of price action that we've seen here of late for most of the overnight session. Okay, we had what appears to be during Asia a little bit of a rally. We'll just go ahead and confirm that with the initial balance range. So we'll go ahead and open up the initial balance range for Asia here and take a look and see. So let's see. There's Asia. So similar to gold, very nice rally in the silver market during Asia. Okay, a lot of buyers in Asia still in the market here. And if I then turn our attention to London, okay, here looks like less interest, right? More balanced kind of price action up here at the highs. Okay. Now, is this, as I mentioned, is this just a period of time of maybe sort of digesting sort of this move? Okay. Or are we building some interest? Okay. Are we building some interest for maybe price to maybe make a rotation back to some of these levels that we've talked about earlier? 88 seems to be the obvious one. So as long as price stays above our 9, above our 20, and above some of our moving average, we have to kind of err on the side of the bulls. But if this is not necessarily an area that I would necessarily want to participate in a bullish trade without some sort of pullback. Okay, let's take a look and see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. Let's see. We'll go back to the start of the session here, back here, and drag this across. Again, similar to gold, you can see that there's a fair amount of interest here to the upside. Obviously, this value area high is going to be another area of interest. If I am interested in participating to the bullish side, this would be a logical level to participate. Now, notice attempts to come to these levels have been met with some buyers. Okay, we broke down to the downside, found an area where there was some evidence of buying in the past, and sure enough, they stepped back into the market and drove price higher. But unfortunately, have not been able to make a new high. So there's a little bit of, I guess, indecision here at the current levels. Okay, so much similar to what I've kind of reached on the gold. I think I've kind of reached a similar kind of conclusion. Although I would say that maybe a tad stronger, I would say, is the silver. I'm going to go with a neutral to bullish rating at this point. Neutral to bullish, because I'm seeing that price remains above a lot of our moving averages. While I am seeing some evidence here of some bearish candles here, I really need to see price close below 90, okay, to really begin to think that we are going to rotate maybe back to some of these lows here. I'm kind of curious to see where settlement price is, because that might be another logical area for price to maybe make its way back. Okay, so this, again, there's a lot of evidence that maybe are a lot of visual targets that would cause maybe the market to want to maybe revisit some of these lows here today. Okay, so let's take one quick peek here at the initial balance for the day session, the regular session, and see what it's developing there. It appears to be developing a rather narrow one. Okay, so a similar guidance here. Looks like we're initiating our second 30-minute candle here. All right. So initial guidance, again, is the same, right? I'm going to wait for this initial balance range to establish, and then I'm going to look for opportunities, okay, based on whatever extension I receive. And then I'll use the initial balance range as a reference level for me to manage my trade. Okay. Right now, I see that the market is in some tight range between 90 and 91. Until it breaks out of that range in one direction, either I need to focus in on the edges of the range to participate, or I just sit on my hands until I get better clarity in the direction that they want to take this. Okay, I do see that we are rather extended to the upside, so I think a little bit of a pullback would be welcomed. Okay, and then maybe participate in an area here for maybe a continuation opportunity. Okay. Let's see, open up my VWAP. Oop, that's not, yeah, I do a VWAP, but I want to turn off my bands. See. All right, there it is. So that VWAP might be another location. Okay, right around here. We're seeing that our VWAP is sloping to the upside. We're getting kind of neutral kind of ratings on our DMI, and volume is not really super healthy in any direction here at the moment. So I think with the silver market, you have to remain patient. So I'm going to give it a neutral rating here for now, maybe neutral to bullish. I can maybe similar to the gold, but I think if I'm going to remain bullish, I'm going to demand maybe a little bit better pricing, a little bit better area for me to participate in this market. If price does manage to come back down to VWAP, that might offer me a logical location to participate. Okay. All right. Let's see. We're going to go ahead now and move on to the crude oil market. Okay. Looking at the crude oil market, we're going to go ahead and start off with a daily chart. looking at the daily chart, again, a lot in the way of indecision here at the moment in the crude oil. Okay, where we managed to make a new high here in the crude oil of late, but we have not been able to make any headway ever since. We've been in a pretty tight range between 67 and 65, right? A 2 point range. Very difficult range if you think about it, to trade 1 point in either direction. Okay, not very conducive to sustain moves here. Okay, at the moment. Taking a look at the 4-hour. Looking at the 4-hour, again, more of the same. Okay, market seems to be in some sort of range, right? Seeing a lot in the way of overlapping price. Just to see if anything else that's kind of that I see. Looking at the DMI, I do see that the positive did manage to get above, but I see that price, the buying pressure is collapsing here a bit, right? So the positive DI and the negative DI are kind of collapsing. That's kind of what we're seeing in price. And the ADX indicator, instead of growing in momentum, is falling in momentum. So whatever direction, which is no direction at this point, it's not doesn't have any momentum behind it, is what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so I would say 4-hour chart relatively neutral. Maybe in the 30-minute chart in this area here might be maybe developing a little bit. We'll take a look at that here in a moment. Okay, I was kind of thinking that maybe there was a little bit of a topping pattern maybe being created here, but I'm not seeing a huge development of what I was thinking I was going to see here, right? This is not high enough. What I was thinking is that maybe there is a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern developing, but this area needed to be a little bit more defined here for me to make that determination. Okay, so not enough of a head to really offer that insight. Okay, this is just pretty much range kind of price action here. Okay, all right, let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Let's see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action, and it does appear that we are in some sort of range in this market. Okay, range price action. All right, so price is inside value, right? Which makes it very difficult to participate in, right? So we need to focus our attention on the upper end of value and the lower end of value, and that right now is not even a 1 point range, from 65 70 to a high of 66.33. So not really a great market to be a part of unless you prefer a market that is ranging, because this market is very much ranging. We see a lot in the way of overlapping price, not really providing us all that much in the way of direction. You can see that the 9 EMA and the VWAPs are all kind of overlapping above and below. DMI also giving us a pretty low reading on ADX, and we have overlapping positive and negative here. So not really a market that is giving us any indication as to the direction. Looks like the Asia and the London session were pretty much the same in that aspect. I don't think we received any sort of real extension here. Okay, maybe it's kind of just waiting to see what comes of all the turmoil that we've been getting globally. Okay, so looking at Asia was pretty much neutral to lower. Let's see. Let's open up London. London was also neutral to a bit higher. Okay, so again, just by definition, guys, this is just appears to be kind of a ranging market. Taking a look at the current session here, relatively small range here at the moment that's being developed. I'm gonna give it a neutral rating here, guys. But I do see that price has the potential of maybe coming back down to this settlement price. Okay, that would kind of continue the rotation that we're currently seeing. Okay, and maybe again come back to that 66.40 level. So I think this particular market, we need to deploy kind of range type of strategies. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go with a neutral rating here in the crude oil. I'm not seeing maybe something that's contributing to this range is the fact that we have EIA today. Okay, so there's EIA. There's an inventory report coming in at 10:30 today, so that could be contributing to some of the range kind of price action that we've been seeing of late in this market. So that would explain that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move into what everybody's looking to understand, and that is the equity markets. Okay, so equity markets, we're starting to see a little bit of signs of life here to the bullish side. We're starting to break some structure here. We were kind of in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 days worth of balance in this market. Okay, and now we've created a candle that, assuming that this candle closes, it will close an area of balance that we've been in for the last 7 days. Okay. So we're starting to see some signs of some bullish price action. We're starting to leave areas where price, there's a level of support here. Okay. So there's this kind of a demand zone. Price is starting to get above some of our moving averages. We're seeing that we have I believe this is, we're above the 200. We've worked our way above the 100, and now we're working our way above the 20, and then we still have I believe this is the 50 moving average. Okay, this is closer to the 50 moving average above us. So we're still not out of the woods as far as structure to the downside, but we have managed to stall. We have managed to stall the bearish price action that we've seen of late. Okay, we're starting to see some structure that might indicate that maybe we want to revisit some of these highs. Okay, all right, let's take a look at the 4-hour. Looking at the 4-hour chart, you can see that price is indeed showing some signs of strength of late here. Okay, so we did again come off this level of 24,720. Okay, and you can see that of late we are starting to make some higher highs and higher lows in this market. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and turn off the some of the drawings here. Just going to fresh arrow here, so you can see that we're making higher highs and higher lows, and we're beginning to break some structure to the upside. So these are all bullish kind of indications here. Okay, on the 4-hour chart. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart, we're going to go ahead and start. Let's start off here with our fixed range volume profile, and then we'll move to our fixed range volume profile. I think based on yesterday's price action, it appears that we are above it. So there's a fair amount of interest here to the upside in this market. You can see that price is above our area of range, above our area of balance. Folks are willing to pay a premium to be part of this market to the upside. So we're seeing some bullish structure developing on the NASDAQ. Obviously, if price were to come back down to this 25,080 level, that would be kind of a logical level to maybe look for an opportunity. I look at the combination of the 30 across all the other time frames, and I see that price the structure is aligned with the structure that I'm seeing in the higher time frame. So this is all giving me indications that that maybe we are in some sort of bullish market. Okay. DMI also giving me a similar, I see the ADX as well as the positive DI in the same direction of price. That's also positive. And I'm starting to see some volume coming in the positive direction. So headed into the market, I would have to say that I'm somewhat bullish. Okay. But that is not to say that I need to be a buyer at the highs, right? That just means to say that I need to see if I can get some sort of pullback, some sort of area, some sort of pocket where I can manage my risk. And right now, based on this chart, I would say back down to value area high would be that logical location. Okay. If I go ahead and open up the initial balance here, maybe take a look and see what London's developing. Maybe IB high from London could offer me a logical location. Okay. So let's go ahead and open up London here. Okay. So there it is. So this would be, again, that just happens to be the same area, right? Value area high and IB high. So the area here around 25,090, 25,080 would be a logical area for me to look maybe to potentially participate in a long opportunity. I say potential. Okay. This would be a logical area for do that, and allows me at least to manage my risk. Up at these levels, up at these levels, I think it would be a little bit difficult to go long. Okay. If anything, it might be an area to maybe look to retrace here a bit. This might be a logical level for that. Okay. So headed into the session, I would have to say that I'm somewhat bullish, I would say, in the NAS. Okay. But I need to see if I can find better price location to participate. All right. Taking a look at the ES here. Looking at the ES, we'll start off with the daily. The daily also giving us some signs that maybe that we are starting to see a little bit of strength come back into. That's why I say strength in the bullish direction, come back into this market here. Okay. So you can see that price is starting to work its way above this area of balance that we've been in for the past 7 days. We don't know exactly how this candle is going to close until the close of the session, but we are seeing that price is above above this area. Okay. We have been in in an area of balance here for some time, but we're starting to see some evidence that maybe price is looking to head higher here. Okay. Looking at the DMI, I'm starting to see the negative DI starting to lose a little bit of strength. Positive DI is starting to pick up some strength. So that's giving me some indications that maybe we are headed into maybe a move that is going to continue to the upside. Taking a look at the 4-hour. 4-hour, similar story, more candles here. Okay, just kind of zooming in on these daily candles. Let's disable this here for a moment. A lot of activity here. Let's see if I can turn off some of this activity, make it a little bit clearer for me to kind of judge. All right. So again, we have a pocket here right away. I see a pocket of support here. All right, around this level at 68.90. Okay, it's a pocket of support. Okay, we of late we've made some higher highs and higher lows, and we're beginning to break some structure here to the upside. All positive, right? All positive indications. Okay, if I go ahead and look at my visible range volume profile, there I have another area where I could potentially, right? I would go and mark this as green. That's another area where I can potentially manage my risk, right? This visible range volume profile, right? I see price is above this level, right? Indicating that there's maybe some aggressive buyers that have maybe potentially stepped into this market. I see my 4-hour, so based on my 4-hour chart. So 4-hour chart also giving me some indications that it appears that price wants to continue in the bullish direction. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart. Okay, there's my settlement. We came down to settlement during the overnight session and reacted away from it. So settlement offered us a nice location for a continuation trade. If I take a look at the fixed range volume profile, and I start with the open of yesterday's session into the close of today's session, you can see that price is above value. Okay, indicating that we are in some area of interest here to the upside, right? So this area right here could offer me a location right around the 6,912.50 level. This could be a logical location for me to maybe look for an opportunity. I am seeing a little bit more in the way of price action on both directions. I'm seeing wicks on both ends of the candles here. So it is maybe giving me some indication. I'm looking to the left here to see what could be potentially causing that. I'm not seeing anything obvious, but certainly it is an indication that maybe we're starting to see a little bit more interest here on the sell side. Okay, we are a little bit extended, I would say. We're well above our VWAP. So having price come back down to VWAP, back down to this 69.16, 69.15 level would be welcomed if we are bullish in this market again, because it allows me to manage my risk. Right now, I'm going to go with as we head into the session, I'm going to go with more of similar to what we said in the Nasdaq. I'm going to go in with more of a bullish kind of view, but that does not mean that I immediately take a bullish trade up at these levels. And what it means is that I need to wait for a logical level to participate in this market to the bullish side, because I feel like I'm in bullish structure. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing in the ES. Let's take a look here at the Dow, and then we'll maybe make one final pass across all the markets, just one final view across all the markets. So we'll take a look here on the daily. Again, here we are in some sort of range. Are we developing some sort of head and shoulder pattern? If so, right, we still have some work to do to get this right shoulder, right? There's my head, there's my left shoulder, but there's a fair amount of work that remains to be done on the right shoulder. Okay, so maybe there's a little bit of a topping pattern potentially developing here on the daily. We are definitely in range, right? Some of the bigger moves of late have been to the downside outside of this move that we had back at the beginnings of February, right? All that we've been kind of down ever since. Okay. Now, if we are going to maintain that downward pressure, obviously we need to see if we can get below 48,800. For now, we've rallied from that area, and maybe potentially are going to retest some of these areas above us at 49,500, for example. Taking a look at the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, again, if I'm just looking at the most recent set of candles here, if I'm just looking at these set of candles, we're starting to make some higher highs and higher lows. I expand that out a little bit, and I see that we have some pockets of resistance here at 49,500. Okay, I would expect that to be somewhat resistant to price, and then we continue with more resistance here right up until 50,000. Okay, in this market. Okay, so so in any case, 4 hours starting to give us some indication that maybe we are in some bullish structure. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart, I would say more of the same, right? We are in somewhat bullish structure here of late. Taking a look at the initial balance ranges, London is above the initial balance range, so we extended to the upside. Asia was, let's see, also actually a little bit more range bound in Asia. Really picked up a rally here at the tail end of Asia into London. Okay, so we have maybe a fair amount of buyers here in this market at the moment. So I will say though that market does appear to be a bit extended, to the upside. Okay, so if we are going to remain bullish, and that's kind of what I'm going to give as my overall sentiment. I think it would be wise for us to wait for a better location to participate in this market. So 49,300 seems to be that level for me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that as maybe another supportive area. That's the level I'm going to wait for if I'm going to entertain any sort of bullish trade in this market. Okay, so similar to NAS, similar to ES, I'm going to give the Dow a similar kind of bullish rating here. I'm seeing a lot of green on my higher time frames that would indicate to me that that we are in some sort of bullish structure here at the moment in the YM. I'm also seeing the same with our DMI. The DMI is also giving me a pretty strong reading here to the upside in this market. Okay, so I'm going to go with a bullish view. Okay, bullish sentiment in the Dow. All right, let's make one final pass across all the markets here on the 30-minute and see. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up our initial balance here now that we certainly for the gold and the silver. All right, and let's see. We're going to go ahead and change this over to the regular session. Okay, and see what kind of initial balance range we continue to develop here. Okay, so here we are again. I think a market that seems to be in some sort of range here at the moment. Again, Asia was somewhat bullish on the market. London to a lesser degree. So I'm gonna go with a more of a neutral rating. I think I need to see more evidence of price action. I'm seeing a lot of barcoding price action here of late. Asia made a nice push, but that wasn't sustained, and now we've been kind of waffling here up at these highs. So I'm gonna give gold. I need more evidence of direction on this market. So I'm gonna give gold a neutral rating. Silver, I would say a little bit more bullish. Okay, I'm seeing again the price action. Even though we are seeing the same kind of range, it kind of has a little bit of more of a bullish kind of tint to it, right? I'm seeing a little bit more in the way of sloping price action to the upside. Okay, what's up this morning? I would say silver. Silver, I think, is up. Okay, so I'm going to give a more of a neutral to bullish rating on the silver, although I do see that we are still in range. This feels a little bit stronger to me. I'm looking at the DMI. That's not really giving much indication, but I'm going to go with a neutral to bullish rating on the silver. Crude oil, again, I'm just going to go with a neutral to bearish rating in the crude oil. Okay, seeing a lot of red here on the higher time frame. So we'll go with a neutral to bearish kind of rating on the crude oil. And then I would say across all the equities right now, I would say that we are in some sort of bullish structure, and we've seen a lot of green on the higher time frame. So I'm going to go with a neutral to bullish on the NASDAQ. ES is, I believe, similar, neutral to bullish on the ES, and then ultimately the Dow, neutral to bullish on the Dow. Okay, so that's kind of what I have for you guys. If you have not already hit the subscribe button, please do so. If you have any questions, I'm happy to entertain them. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and close this session as we close most sessions, and that is: trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. All right. You too, Dirk. Have a great session, guys. And as of now, guys, I will be back doing the session tomorrow. I've not gotten the tap on the shoulder to make any sort of appearance, at least. So I'll be here tomorrow for my pre-market review. Okay. All right, guys. Have a great session, and we'll talk again very soon. Trade well.